questions we're asked all the time is what percentage of your sales is that?
What was
So
that
if you
again?
sell $100 a meal or something, what's the food cost under that $100? More or less average. Have you got a percentage or it varies?
It depends on the business. So if you're in like higher end catering, like maybe where you go to a banquet hall, they got a very low food cost. Their food cost might be 20% on down. Our food cost is more between 30 and 40%, and then when you get into school food service, our food cost is over 50%. So it depends on the margins that you can make on your product. Like they talked about earlier, don't sell yourself for cheap, but it depends on the market that you're in. So typical restaurants, I would have to say, is around 30%.
Okay.
What is yours?
30%. It's been that for years. But one thing I would say, I want to make sure I phrase this right. Because you buy something for $1, you think you sold it for $3, you think you made a profit. Technically, you haven't based on your business. Because some people feel if you get in the food industry, I did go to school. I didn't mention that earlier. I'm an executive chef, have my degree. Learn some about your industry. Because as someone said earlier, do what you're good at. I'm not good at paperwork. I had to hire somebody for that. I don't like it. I hate it. I can do it though. I learn it because you should know everything about your business. Put me in the kitchen, I'm very confident. Put some paperwork in front of my face, I sit there and I stare at it. And then I call somebody. I need you to do these invoices. I need you to pay my bills. I keep track of my money. I know where everything's going, but that's not my specialty. So.
All right, you got a question?
Yes, you guys may have answered it, but I'm not for sure. Like I had a restaurant and it was a carry-out restaurant, but I could never seem to turn a profit because after, say for instance, if I sold this biscuit, if I brought the biscuits, the eggs, the ham, the cheese, and like you said, you want to do it at 3 times because that's supposed to be your profit. But what about your utilities, your rent, your insurance, your payroll? Is there some type of formula that you could use when you're trying to price your product? For instance, she mentioned that you should make your profit in your pricing. How do you do that? Is it a formula for that? I'm not along for that. If you guys could add clarity on that.
Well, when I do my breakdown, when I do my food, I look at everybody. If you know, everybody want to give a deal, $1.99 or whatever the deal is. First of all, you're not McDonald's.
Right.
You can never compete with McDonald's,
Right.
or anything along that line. Because I go to places, I'm like, how can they sell this for $1? I can't do it. So you have to find your market group. Is what I'm trying to say. For example, I'm downtown right now. Some people think my pricing is high. Everybody said you should do a happy hour, give away free appetizers. I don't want to be known for that. I've done that in the past. As you said, it seemed like I could never meet the minimum.
Right.
And my place I'm at now, I'm known for what my pricing is. If you think it's high, it's not the place for you. Because I'm going to give you the best food, the best service. Right. And if this is where you want to come, that's what I'm establishing out, and it's working out very well. So
you say establish the industry or the market. Like for instance, I would just tell you, my competitor, you guys probably know, is I think it's called Potato Factory. That's my competitor, and I had a business in Wall Lake. I even had those people come into my business to check it out. But as I mentioned, I could never make a profit, and with the recession and some other issues, I had to go out of business. So now I'm focusing on catering. I need to know how can I price my catering to make a profit, so I'm not wasting my time or my money.
I'm going to, panelists?
I was going to mention Pat's department can help you with that with some industry numbers, but there's no magic formula. But when we talked about 30% for food cost, that doesn't mean you mark it up 3 times because you just shorted yourself now.
Okay.
Because that 3 times is only up to 90% basically.
Right.
So the better rule is 4 times. Because you have all this overhead that you can't really account for,
Right.
but the more volume you do, the more it dilutes your overhead. So for
Right.
instance, your overhead, your utilities, your business insurance, your rent, liability, things like that. So we've looked at a history of a couple years and figured out our overhead as a percentage of our sales, and we put like another 8% just for overhead, because every job that we do, you have to look at your food costs, the labor costs on that, the overhead that's involved. You put in a profit, whether it's 10%, 12%, whatever kind of profit you're, and then maybe you couldn't turn a profit because you just didn't have the volume. Maybe you were pricing yourself correctly, but you didn't have enough numbers walking in the door.
If I can elaborate on that, just one thing, like a fast food chain, I'm gonna use Wendy's for an example. I have a buddy that owns 6 Wendy's. You think because Wendy's grossed $1 million a year, actually their thing is you have to gross $1.2 million a year to even stay in business. Out of that 1.2 million, only 200,000 is his profit. The $1 million is all in overhead, so it's the volume. If he makes under that, they will close him down because they don't believe it's enough money. He can't manage it right, and he can't advertise enough. So, to give you an example, if you make $1 million, it's not sure if you're gonna make $1 million.
Right.
Okay. I believe we had a response to that from the gentleman from SCORE.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you have to keep in mind, one of the things you have to keep in mind.
Just hold it away.
Yeah.
Just hold it away. Just hold it away. Just.
Hold it. One of the things you have to keep in mind is, is your business high volume, low price? Is your business low volume and high price? You have to come to that determination yourself, and then you get that through your research. And you can't be all things to all people as far as that's concerned. One of the things that you have to do almost on a constant basis is you have to look at your expenses, every one of your expenses. You want to keep driving your expenses down and driving your income up. That's what gets you cash flow. Okay? So you have fixed expenses and you have variable expenses. You have to know the difference between the two, and you have to plug that into your expenses so you're not getting blindsided by something that you didn't expect was going to happen in terms of expenses. So look at your expenses very closely every day. Work hard on driving them down and driving your income level up.
All right. Batata.
I just wanted to say, I don't know her name, but just ask the question here in the version. Shanice. So like the resources that are here, like SCORE and the different organizations, they have like a class like for business financing. They can kind of start you off in understanding like how to build those type of numbers. Because I think that's what, like I have to take a class to understand how I'm going to understand my numbers and what that means, profit and expenses and that comparing. So it's good that you're here, and you should utilize like some of the resources for those free classes.
Okay. Thank you. I will.
You know what? Something else. You can't please everybody. Everybody think they can please everybody. You can't.
You can't.
My motto is I can please 90% of my customers. I'm happy with that. The other 10% is going to always be something. They don't like it. It's this, it's that. If you like thick crust pizza, I sell thin crust pizza. Just remember, you can't please everybody. I know people say, oh, they'll change it. Then they lost even more business. If you got a good product, you have to cater to who wants your product.
And for those of you that are in catering particularly, we compete against Costco and Sam's Club. People think that, well, I could go get that party tray at Costco and Sam's Club for half the price. Well, I have to tell people very politely, then please do that, because that's not who we are. We sell service. It's really extreme to say this, but I don't sell food. I sell service. And just as Tom was saying, you have to decide who you're going to be. Are you going to push your core competencies on delivery, quality, price, or your service? And most people can only be 2 of those core competencies. So Costco and Sam's Club is about price. They're not necessarily about quality and service. And those are our core competencies in people that want to just focus on catering. We can't compete against the supermarkets and the big box stores.
And I've got a perfect example of that. Recently went to an event where the people, they had 1.5 gallons of ice cream and they paid $62 for 1.5 gallons of ice cream. But that 1.5 gallons of ice cream was of the highest quality and it came with someone to serve it. And so the people who received that ice cream were pleased, and the people who paid for that ice cream were pleased. Now, can you find a far more efficient way to do that for far less cost? Yes, but you don't get that level of service or the quality of product. So you're absolutely right when it comes to that. If that's what I want, I could have gone and gotten a $1 gallon of ice cream, but you would have known that was a $1 gallon of ice cream, and you would have seen me scooping out ice cream, and you would have known Scott Benson was scooping ice cream. But instead, we paid that premium and got premium product and premium service. So I think that speaks directly to that, and I would gladly do that again. We got 2 more questions, and we are about to run over our time, so we're going to take 5 additional minutes. Our first of our last 2 is going to be towards Tammy. The question is, train women in food industry. There may be something before that. Are there candidates for your training women in food industry? Who are the candidates? I'm going to paraphrase here. Are they homemakers, already employed? Do you have internships with your company, on-site, hands-on training? And this may be an offline response to whoever asked that, but could you just kind of go into?
Yeah, my quick response to that is about 2 years ago we teamed up with Goodwill Industries to start helping us with labor, because we're not good at HR. So we went to someone else that was going to screen and train and then at least show them job skills and how to get a job. And then we start most of our women out, because they are mothers and they need a flexible schedule. We start them in our school program. It's an easy entry for women to go into and serve the children in the schools. And then from there, we've developed some of the women into being area leaders and managers, or they've come directly to our commissary kitchen to start making the food for the kids. So yes, we've really utilized a partner with Goodwill Industries to help us with that.
Okay, and if you want to connect with that person, to connect with Tammy offline, get some more in-depth answers. Last question is going to be for Pat. Are all your products made by your company, and how do you look upon outsourcing certain items, i.e. pastries?
Okay. As far as our coffees, we have partnered with, as I mentioned, Intelligentsia Coffee, which is primarily in Chicago, and they also have a West Coast operation. We also have a local roaster here. We are partnering with Righteous Bean, which is out of Mount Clemens, so they are a local company as well. As far as pastries and things, key criteria is that you have to be commercially licensed in the state. I have a lot of people that have approached me that do wonderful things out of your own home kitchen and things like that, which I'm sure are wonderful, but according to the state regulations, excuse me, you have to have a commercial license. And if you do, always looking for great delectable pastries to add to our repertoire, so feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to talk with you more about that.
All right, that's going to be it for our panel. I'd like to thank our panelists this morning for coming out and taking their time and giving their expert advice. Please talk to them afterwards. Ask them any questions. You have the corporate knowledge right here. Don't let it get past you. Right now it's at a great price, nothing. That's my favorite type of advice, is free. In addition, I'd like to thank the CEED staff again for having us this morning. And if you live on the east side, remember, vote Scott Benson.
Thank you, Scott, and panelists, give them a hand. Excellent information, inspired.